meeting of the BZA. And do we have a new agenda item, Michelle? It's on the agenda. We don't have one, right? We do? No, I have an agenda.
Thank
I don't know why that's on there. Okay. Are we ready? Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to welcome Chris Parrish. Everybody knows Chris, but he's our new BZA member. And Bill, great you recovered. You're still alive. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and also the minutes, we're going to look at the minutes from February 24th.
Yeah, she did a great job.
Oh, she did an amazing job.
Okay, I've got one question on the minutes, is that in looking at minutes from other meetings or whatever, the findings are not attached. They're referenced, but they're not attached
Okay,
to the minutes.
okay,
And under the circumstances, although we're
Yeah.
past the 30 days now, that would have been important because that's the basis for that was the basis that we passed it on.
and Ron, how would you like to deal with that? Do you want to,
They were printed,
yeah, so
but they need to be attached to minutes.
in future going forward, or
No,
now?
For these too. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, it needs to be there.
Okay, so the question is, do we table the approval of the minutes now and do it next meeting? They're not attached.
If we could also motion to, I'll make a motion to pass the minutes with the findings attached. And
Okay.
it can just be, because if they're written down someplace, just attach them to the minutes. And so that's my motion.
I second it.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, we have a variance tonight. Are you the applicant?
I am.
Yeah. Michelle, do you want to make a brief presentation on the application?
Attached to Boarddocs, you have a staff report attached. The applicant's requesting that the requirement for the rear yard of 100 feet be reduced to 50 feet because of the topography. The parcel is split zoning, agricultural and conservation, but portion of the property where the house is going to be located is in the conservation zoning district, which requires a 100-foot setback all the way around. All I have.
Okay, would you like to make a presentation?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and your name is?
I'm new to this, so I'm sure
Okay.
I stand or matter. Thank you. So we've, bought this property in September, knowing that there would be, some limitations to the setbacks, and we went through the process of going through the request and the documentation. We actually want to apologize. We had that on the agenda for January. We delayed that because we wanted to make sure we had the time to talk to our neighbor, to meet all the neighbors. As you can see on the plat, there's a road crossing our a property. And so I've been there, since September, pretty much, every weekend working on the land. Met pretty much everyone in the hollow, especially our neighbors, with one exception, Lucy Glassman, who has one of the property adjacent to ours. But we've met all the other neighbors, the Gaba who live up the hill, John Nara and Brittany who live on the other side, and Bennett and Mary Johnston who live up the hill. So we've met them all. Yes, please go ahead.
Was that you had not met with Lucy, or she did not agree?
No, she agrees and supports the project. Actually, she was apart from the Johnstons, she was the first one to, naturally, she reviewed the documents online and sent me a nice email, which I think you have on file. But she lives in California, and her daughter and son-in-law are in DC and sometimes are in the house, but she's not here, so I didn't meet her. But apart from that, we're on the call.
That was just
yeah.
clarification.
Okay, got it. So we met everyone. We explained what we wanted to do. We delayed a little bit because I wanted to talk to John, who is on the other side of the ridge. He was concerned, about privacy, which we all understand. I think none of the neighbors here see each other's house, which I think is something good. So we worked an arrangement with John and Brittany Nara on the other side to agree on what they would accept, and so they also now in support of our request. The one, the request here is really about what the land looks like. So it starts on I don't know if it shows on the thing on the plat, but it's flatter on the top, and then it goes really steep. So if we're in the middle, that's Rappahannock, I guess. I'm new to this, but so there's a rather small triangle where we naturally could build without any variance, but the house would be closer to the road. Probably we would have to work with the triangular shape, and it would be seen from the road as well. So we thought, it was a good thing to ask for an adjustment on one side only, just to go up a little bit, and be able to be on a flatter terrain, also slightly larger, so that we have an option to put the house left and right, 10 feet to left or to the right, rather than have to work within this very constrained triangle. So that's basically it. And so we went through the process of explaining in great details. We wouldn't have to do that if we didn't have to ask that, but we went through, great details with the neighbors. They had questions. We answered pretty much everything. Other neighbors were in the area were also asking questions. We answered that. So what I know is the neighbors that are around us don't oppose our request. I don't know about any other neighbor in the hollow or anyone in the county that contacted you for anything. But that's where we're at with our request.
I think all the letters we got were in favor.
Okay. So that's pretty much it. I have more stories about how I enjoy the county, but that's probably not for this place.
I've got a couple of questions. One is, you said, I think in your application, that where you were going to put it would limit cutting down trees and moving rocks. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. So if you go, right now the upper part where we want to build a house is a place where the former owners already cleared some of the big trees and sold them. So there was new trees growing up. Now down from where the house could be located with the current setbacks, there are some large trees and rock formations, also why it's steeper. So for me it's also more logical if we want to preserve what exists on the property to put the house where there's already no big trees and a little flatter. That's why.
Do you have a plan for the house? I know we have a sketch somewhere.
I have lots of plans in my head, but
how many stories are we using?
I'm thinking one story and probably basement, and that's actually something that we discussed with the neighbor, John Nara, on the other side. He's also an architect. He may be the architect working on the project, But no, I don't want to go higher than that. Yeah.
I would think that that would be what would concern the neighbors more than
Yeah.
most everything.
Yeah, and I don't think I can also, like, want a big house, or, again, I don't think we can
Yeah.
go for that for other reasons,
Yeah.
financial, yeah.
So how big is, how many square foot?
I'm thinking between 1,100 to 1,300, 1,400. I think it's a question of budget, to be perfectly transparent.
The blue poles are where the corners of the house are gonna be, that you have some blue poles up there.
I had green, like you were referring to the sticks that were,
Right.
yeah, I was trying to see where the house could be, and I put some green picks. I don't know if any of you have been there, or if anyone's
We
been
all
there.
go and look.
You all went?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
good, good.
No,
Okay,
I was like,
okay.
the first time I went was before you actually had marked where the property was, and so
Okay.
I was looking at it and thinking, my God, where would you, I mean, there's that enormous rock, and then it's straight up.
Yes, it's
Where
not an
where
easy
would you
terrain.
put a
Sorry
house?
to, didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, it's not an easy terrain. I understand there are ways around it. But yeah, but you've seen the area that I've spent some time, clearing the small trees, and didn't cut any big ones. They were already down.
So if you did not get a variance, how big would the house be?
Probably less than 1,000 square foot.
Less than 1,000?
Yeah,
So you're
and-
really talking only 300 square feet?
Probably, yeah. But it will also have to work with that triangular shape and lower, and for other reasons, yeah.
Has your drain field been approved? You have it marked off, but is that,
Yeah, so I've had someone look, because I wanted to make sure that that was a viable project for a start. So I wanted someone to test the soil. The feedback that I got, probably not official yet, but it's very good soil. And so, again, the neighbor, who's also an architect, told me that I should ask for someone to come and check if that could be a 4-bedroom house, just because by doing that, there are options in the future, or maybe that adds to the value of the land. I'm not sure, but so that's what we did. It's
the
not,
engineer thinks it's good enough for 4 bedrooms?
yeah.
And then your driveway, is that gonna be where it's cleared, where the machine got up in there to check the?
No, the driveway, and we've asked a VDOT already. Someone looked at it, and if you look at the map, there's a triangular shape on top of the road, right? And so the driveway in that case would come from the left side along the property line below Johnston, on the gentler slope than the one where the excavator went up, which is what you're referring to.
Yeah, so you go, there's like a white string or something.
Yes,
You're gonna have the
I try to,
driveway.
you're right, yeah.
Okay.
And,
Makes more sense.
yeah, and then the person who, did the digging for the soil, for the drain field, also looked at this option. He didn't seem impressed at all by the slope or I had no clue, to be honest, at the beginning. I thought, like, is it even a project that's feasible? So I got involved with, a few people that could help me figure it out, and apparently it's possible. So that's where I'm at right now. And,
So now the house to the back, the property line is along that barbed wire fence, apparently, what's left of it. And so how far from the back the only setback you need, variance you need, is from the back of
correct,
the hill, right?
correct.
And so do you know how far it is from the edge of the house to the back?
That would be probably 60 to 75 feet,
Over 50
depending on
feet.
where we put the house. Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can add, so we first wanted the other, be closer to the other property line, but because the drain field would be there anyway, there would have been no interest of pushing or changing the setbacks in this area. So only one side.
Does anybody else, any more questions from the BZA?
Pretty straightforward.
Well, is there,
The issue of hardship is,
okay, I'm going to open it to public comment. Yeah, come up and say who you are, even though we all know.
Mary Catherine Deschi, Piedmont District, and welcome to the neighborhood. I live on Bryan Road, which is just down off of Old Hollow a little ways, and walk that way quite a bit. And I don't intend to speak in opposition to the variance, but I do think that some of the questions that have been raised are appropriate, and wonder whether all the information that you might want has been presented thus far. As you know, a variance is a deviation from the zoning that everybody else has to follow. And this is in a conservation district, and the reason it's in a conservation district is this very steep slope, comes down to the road, and then we've got the Thornton River right there. So the creation of more impervious surfaces or cutting down of trees is always of concern right there. Sounds like what you're thinking of doing is actually could be beneficial in that if it's actually the case that you're going to have to take down fewer large trees or manage to somehow by your road or whatever create less impervious surface, that could be a net gain, in which case there would be no detriment necessarily to the rest of the vicinity, in which case a variance along with its other hardships might be appropriate. But that does seem like something that you might want to address more fully. You know, what's the difference in the trees that are going to have to be taken down? How much impervious surfaces, how much more impervious surface or clearing you intend to do? And if again there were, I think for the neighborhood and for the vicinity, if a benefit could be shown by maintaining as much natural coverage and doing as little clearing as possible, I think that information could help arrive at a decision that was appropriate. Whereas in fact, you know, and this means nothing to, you know, against you, but you know, we all know that sometimes people have in their head, hey, I think I'll do this, but in fact, when push comes to shove, they decide to do a whole bunch more clearing, and the variance was granted, but nothing was cast in stone. And if I'm not mistaken, the BZA has the authority when granting a variance to impose specific conditions that will run with the property. So it would seem to me that would be appropriate to drill down a little bit into what those actual plans might be. And again, if there were a net gain to the protection of the river there and the road with runoff coming onto it, I think that would be appropriate to maybe add as conditions. Thank you.
I got a question, maybe it's for Michelle. The application is, if he's allowed to build a house, is there going to be a minimum of a 50-foot setback from the back boundary?
That's what has been requested, yes, so depending on.
So we're taking it from 100 to 50?
50, correct. That's
Okay.
what's been advertised for.
Right.
But it could be done, the house could be built with a 60-foot setback.
Yeah, we could work, you know, in certain conditions, that's easy, it's better than keep the 100.
And I believe the owner in the back, where you would be requesting the setback, I think he's one of the letters that said he was okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is one of those situations where setbacks are easy on flat agricultural property.
Yeah.
But when you get into sloping property
Right.
in Mother Nature, and on this property particularly because of the slope and the rock.
Right.
And the spot that they picked out is pretty much the place, if you're gonna put a house on that property,
no, I agree.
that's where it's got to be. And the lot's large enough that, I mean, you know, it's like even on the rear setback, 50, 60, 50 feet, if it ends up being, it can't be any closer than 50, and they can put it wherever they want within that range. But, the property is what it is, and that spot that they've got picked out is pretty much where the house has got to be, so.
Well, it certainly sounds like your considerations are sensitive to where it is. And, Bill?
Well, I think we should grant the petition based upon the geographical hardship.
Do you want to put any limitations on that?
I mean,
Well,
it's-
no, I think, the position has been to maintain most of the forested area and the trees, and as long as that's been set out as a good idea to save the trees, and he's agreed to save the trees, that we ought to probably just formalize that in some way.
Well, so, I was thinking that in our decision, we should include, right, that as few trees as possible be taken down, and that the house it'd be one story, and that be part of the variance. And
And a
no bigger
limitation of
than
1,300 square feet, is that
1,300 square feet.
can do?
And all, being as you're elevated above, all your outside lighting needs to be downward shielded. Yeah.
Okay.
So that needs to go in there.
Can I just have an additional question? The 1,300 square foot would be the floor that's finished floor, right? Not the
Right.
garage, not the
Right,
beginning.
right. Yeah. Do you want to restate it, that motion?
Well, yeah. All right, yeah, I think we should approve the variance on the condition that the building be no higher than its stated one floor, that a minimum amount of floor be removed in order to make the site, and that the setback be no less than 50 feet.
And the outside lighting,
And outside lighting
Downward shielded.
downshielded.
Now, when you're
And?
saying one floor, it's on a hillside, so you've got a basement, which is probably going to be a walkout basement.
Oh, yeah, oh, no, we're not talking about the basement, we're just.
Well, and that's, but that's going to be a living area, so basically
Oh.
that's a floor. So,
Okay, well,
so to say one floor,
I would say one-
technically,
let's
you
say
can
one
put it
floor
in
with
a
a
basement.
basement.
So it would be, a basement and, one additional floor.
Okay, I think that's fine.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay, wait a
restate the
minute, yeah,
motion
hang on.
as
Yeah,
as
can
I
we
hear
read
it.
Steph's got it right it out.
Okay, how
She's-
about, it's a motion to approve with the following conditions. First, that the house remain one floor and a basement.
Above grade. I mean,
Yeah, one floor
because
above
if you,
Yeah, that works. That's,
because if you just say,
One floor above grade.
right, because we're not gonna put conditions on anything that's underground.
Okay, one floor above grade. That the setback be no less than 50 feet.
Right,
That the house be no bigger than 1,300 square feet, and that there be downward shielded light.
yeah, and a minimum of floor removed.
Oh, minimum fees.
what's with the, when you say 1,300 square feet, what are you referring to there?
That's only the floor plan of the house, it doesn't include porches or garages, I wouldn't think.
'Cause that
Or does it?
1,300
That's what I said,
square feet finished?
That's why I'm wondering why we're limiting, is if he's within,
Whatever, wherever
if
he can fit.
he's within his setbacks, that's the housing site. And basically, you can put what you want on the housing site as long as it's within the housing site. So I don't think trying to put a square foot number on that is appropriate.
I agree with that. I'll accept that into the motion.
Okay, so you're taking out the 1,300?
Yeah, 1,300, as long as it fits in the appropriate, site plan, that area, you know.
Okay, so the setback be
Goes
no less than
1400.
50 feet in the rear portion, what side is that?
That would be the north? Is that the north side?
It should be the north side.
And we're going to grant this on the basis of a difficult property?
Geographical hardship, I
Yeah,
think, is a tip,
Good one.
is the
Geographical hardship.
technical term.
So I'm going to call for a vote unless there's any further discussion.
Do we have a second?
No?
We need a second.
Oh, sorry, thank you. I will call for a second. I thought you were seconding it, Ron.
I would have, if we didn't have a motion, yeah.
Okay.
So actually, we,
Now we have a motion, right?
we, read back the motion.
Okay, what I have now is that we approve the variance conditions on setback being no less than 50 feet on
It's
the
rear
north
set- the rear
side.
setback.
Yep. Okay. Rear setback. No more, that there'll be minimum flora disturbance, that there be one floor above grade, that there be downward shielded light. And I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah. And we grant it on the basis of.
Okay, that's my motion.
Yeah.
And it's being based on,
Geographical hardship.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for a vote. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none, it is passed, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do a good job, would you?
This is the easy
Very-
part, now you gotta get it built.
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
Thank you. Love it.
Okay.
Congratulations.
I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I bet you nobody's opposed.
Okay. Now this, that
Gotta
was
go
a
turn off my
beautiful
light.
meeting.